Oh, jeez Louise, it's getting pretty cold at this point. Especially because considering we're still on November after all. Yeah, I know, right? And eventually that we've almost approaching to winter during the forms of this year so far, but that might be a discussion for the later time. So, hey, what's up ladies and gentlemen? It is I am the one and only Ray the Flying Squirrel here. And I'm Mighty the Armadillo here. Welcome you all back for the likes of the Mexi Toys videos once again. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back for some more of Let's Play of Super Mario Advance 4, Super Mario Bros. 3 for the Game Boy Advance. So, last time we've essentially accomplished by the forms of World 5, in this case, the sky. So, yeah, I guess that's pretty much as far as I can say about it, though I think about it. And on top of all that stuff though, we actually come across into certain unique features in this version of the game, like for instance, much easier to grind more extra lives, and you probably named the rest of it though, thanks to the forms of that particular slot machine. So today, for this video is about the fact that we're about to be hitting off to the forms of the 6th world in the game, known as the Iced Land. So obviously it's going to be one of the hardest worlds in the game for sure, just because, remember when I mentioned this before, on the, not only on the NES version, but also on the Super Nintendo version as well, that obviously this place is going to be filled to the brim with a lot of ice physics here and there, and on top of all that stuff though, this place is super darn slippery, so to be expected at this point, because, you know, this takes place in a snowy environment. So, I just realized something, that Mighty did somehow manage to beat this level no problem. Yep, with no damage or anything else like that, so, and I believe something tells me you're might as well able to go after all those extra lives as far as I'm aware. Yeah, because I seriously need those so badly after the events of World 5. So, but first off, let me go ahead and get ourselves the... Well, despite the fact that I'm not very great at this card game, so I just basically got nothing at all. But, regardless of such though, I'm also able to go ahead and get on to level 2 quickly, because I need to take care of the forms of the auto-scoring level finished and over and done with, before something else happens. So, few things we want to explain for this point today, and that is that, well, today's date, of course, there is the 8th of November today, in this case in 2023 today, although we'll talk more details about the forms of other details in a moment, once we get to, well, let's just say whenever we get to the halfway point in World 6, because as far as I'm aware, that between World 6, alongside with World 7, that both of those worlds are by far the longest worlds in the game. But I'm pretty sure I'm also able to actually say this right now, that we can probably able to take care of the forms of World 6 in the quickest time if possible, at least depending on the forms of certain situations involved, for certain levels anyway, so at the very least that might be something I suppose. So either way, so I just need able to be very cautious not to get fallen off again, well, to be more specifically, not to fall off in this entire stage, and... Oh boy, I got my 1-up, so at the very least I got up to 40 lives so far. So, I'm not exactly sure if it's just me, but maybe I keep thinking about the forms of another level that does manage to feature this particular unpredictable spinning, rotating platform. But either way, though, it has been about 2 days ago since we've actually last played this, since, you know, a very successful run in Journey Forms of World 5. So, either way, so it looks like that Mighty did somehow go into the actual slot machine anyway, so just to ensure that he's going to be matching the forms of those 3 of the exact kind. So, and since this is now on Diamond, so this means he only got himself 5 lives, being the actual Starman icon. So either way, because of this though, once you're done with that, the thing resets back into its normal self. So I believe it's now going back onto the forms of Spade or Club, although I'm guessing it's more accurately Spade or something like that. So, but either way though, that's essentially how this works when it comes to the forms of the slot machine differences. At least specifically on the Game Boy Advance version, to be more specifically. I don't think it's actually included during the forms within the NES or the Super Nintendo versions, so I'm guessing the Game Boy Advance version is actually a little bit more popular for that regard, despite the forms of that particular screen crunch, as we mentioned this a couple of times, ever since on the 1st of November, but that's just the way how it goes for this point, so... But I digress though, so it looks like I did somehow manage to get about quite a few lives here and there, but hopefully I'm almost gonna caught up with your lives counter as far as I'm aware. Yeah, because, you know, about the fact that it's been about 2 days ago since, as I mentioned this before, since we've actually last played this for sure, because obviously about the fact with all this, a lot of stuff has been going on, and on top of all that stuff though, I somehow fell off. Right at the very end of a level, by the way, which I was not expecting for that ending conclusion right there. Well, on the upside is for me, I'm gonna be tackling for that level anyway, so... And I can assure to you, you might be able to actually go after that particular Starman card, and that way you can get yourselves, you know, even more extra lives. So, assuming of course about the fact that you can able to do a bit of a timing jump going on around here, but that's besides the point. So, and it seems that it's just me about the fact that the actual screen scrolls a little bit, just to ensure about the fact that, well, I don't know about you, because again, it's been 2 days ago since we've actually last played this, so... And success, and even... Oh, darn it! I was so close to get a 5-star man card. Well, to be more specifically, the 5 1-ups. I'm guessing you blame the ice physics for that part, especially because, well, what makes this a bit tricky when it comes to getting a Starman card, at least specifically in terms of World 6 already, that you have to rely on the forms of the ice physics in mind, and oh boy, I've got myself my awesome Hammer Bro suit. However, I might as well save that in the later levels, because obviously I'll pretty much have to save up until, let's just say, whenever we get to the finale portion of the game, and oh, okay, this layout is a bit different. Especially unlike the forms of how it does it on the NES version or the Super Nintendo version, that basically it's all like, I don't know, self-explanatory I guess? Whilst in here though, the actual level layout is actually a bit different, so I guess that's the thing. But anyway, I did somehow manage to lost my Super Leaf already, but that's to be expected at this point, and I just need to be very cautious not to get hit by those roto discs here and there, and straight to the point, I did somehow manage to succeed. So either way, time for another Boom Boom boss fight, and something tells me about the fact that, of course, like we already established that since on the NES version and the Super Nintendo version, that this is the only world that does manage to feature a lot of tower levels basically, so we might as well come across into not 1, not 2, but 3 tower levels for sure. And then also, in addition to that though, we will come across into this very puzzle-like level. Yeah, and that is essentially on level 5, basically, in this world. So, either way though, and something tells me you might as well go after even more 1-ups, at least as far as you might as well desperately want to go after even more 1-ups and such. Assuming, of course, if you do have a good timing, but not so much the case. But, to be fair though, at the very least we did come across into, you know, the exclusive thing that we've never encountered for, from the likes of the previous versions of Super Mario Bros. 3 in one hand, so... Yeah, but I digress. So, either way though, that's pretty much as far as we can able to say about this for the most part, because we already explained about the forms of that particular, of the way how this thing's structured and stuff. Oh, and also I forgot to mention that we've actually come across into the only appearance of the very, very rare effect of the treasure ship. I mean, my god, that was actually very lucky during the forms of in World 5, believe it or not. Yeah, especially notable because concerning about the fact that it is, you know, super duper rare, like we've already established that since in 2 days ago, so... Yeah, but either way though, that might be something as far as this is concerned. But it looks like I'm gonna be hitting back into that flipping a card game again. Yep, so much to the point about the fact that you really want to go after those items, aren't you? Like, for instance, I got my extra life back after Lost 1 during the forms of the ending conclusion of level 3 in World 6 by pretty unexpectedly, but at least I got myself 20 coins. Oh, I got myself a Starman too. That's actually super dope and everything. And there goes my curiosity, so oh well, no big deal, but at least I'm also able to go ahead and tackle through that particular Hammer Bro I need to take care of. And of course, to be expected, this is the final world able to feature Hammer Bros wandering around in the actual world map, so yeah. If you probably already know what that is though, especially concerning, again, if you've seen the NES version or the Super Nintendo version of that Let's Play already, then you know you're most able to consider this much. And lucky you, you got yourselves the Hammer Bros suit as well. Yep, exactly. Especially I might as well also save that for later. Oh, let me guess. You might as well save it up until when we see Bowser and stuff like that? Well, suffice to say, yes, I will be. Okay, fair point, fair point. Especially concerning about the fact that I'm gonna be able to hopefully save Princess Peach and stuff like that. Unlike the other two versions, I did not. So, and yeah, you did somehow lost your, you know, raccoon form, but at the very least you can able to actually find it again into that pipe as you go. Yep, especially noticeable about the fact that every time you made several mistakes in this level, then obviously this spot will be a good spot for you if you really want to go after that particular level completionist as far as I'm aware. But first, let me go ahead and take care of the forms of not only for those blocks I need to get rid of, but also with that particular Koopa Trooper that has been, you know, reliable onto this particular point, and let me go ahead and get rid of those other blocks here and there. And there are occasional moments that, like we've already established that, about the fact that sometimes enemies do respawn after a while, so because of this though, you pretty much expect how this is going. So either way though, yeah, let me go ahead and fly up, and nope, I did not mean to do that. But hopefully the actual enemy will respawn after when you go off screen, so at least that's that. Yep, especially concerning about the fact that... Oh, come on, really? Really, P-Meter? I want you able to go fast for me, please. This might take a while to able to build up the actual speed of yourself, but at the very least I did somehow manage to accomplish that, and booyah, I have done it. Well, congratulations to you, pal, especially, or should I say, bro, as far as I'm aware, because, you know, you and I are related to brothers and stuff like that, mighty. Yeah, especially noticeable because, you know, you were busy to somehow manage to able to realize that, well, forget what I just said. Yeah, point taken. Well, at the very least, it's now my turn to take on level 6, so... Because I'm pretty sure about the fact that, well, I don't know about you, because it's been a very long time since we've actually last experienced this world, since on the Super Nintendo version, back on March, during the forms of, you know, the month of the Mario Day and stuff like that, and on top of that, just trying to celebrate with the Mario movies released during that time, then, relatively speaking, though, about the fact that I'm still very curious to see what's going to be up next. Oh dear, I do apologize for that particular awkward commentary for this point, folks, because I've almost swallowed down the wrong hole whenever I was trying to able to discuss on something. Ugh. Okay. I apologize for this point, folks. Oh, goodness gracious. Sometimes, you know, doing commentary feels a bit of a struggle, and other times, though, it can be felt a bit convoluted at points. But anyways, let's just go ahead and deal with these. Oh, God! Okay. Okay. I'm just gonna have to get into this pipe. Oh, wait. That was a close call. But hey, at least I somehow finished the level, even though I didn't get my Starman card. Oh, well. No big deal, because obviously I still got 40 lives as it is, so... That's easy for you to say, and I might as well take care of that Hammer Bro. In this case, the final Hammer Bro to deal with in this entire world, and even especially noticeable in the actual, Super Mario Bros. 3, the game itself. Yep, especially concerning about the fact that, well, as you can tell, there's no footprints or footsteps sound effect anymore, because we've essentially dealt well with all those Hammer Bros. Well, apart from one in particular exception to this though, but we'll save that until whenever we complete it. Oh, you seriously managed to able to skip that particular level, aren't you? Yeah, just Dreamshot, I just want to get this second tower level over and done with, so... Yeah, anyway, as I was stating this earlier about the fact that we'll find out more details about the forms of how the fact that once we finish up with World 8, then I can assure you I will discuss upon the forms of how to actually access to the warp zones, because, you know, unlike the NES version and the Super Nintendo version, that normally we go through the worlds in a chronological order, no warp zones included. So as a result of this kind of stuff though, we will promise you guys in this version in particular, we will now show you the forms of the warp zones in this entire Super Mario Bros. 3 game itself. So... Oh, jeez, I completely forgot about that particular flump and down below. But oh well, at least I did somehow made it towards the very end of this particular point. And time to take on Boom Boom again, but this time with Ice Physics, and something tells me he's always standing in one place, assuming of course he decides they're able to jump it, whatever. So yeah, that seems kind of out of nowhere. And believe it or not, we've almost done with World 6. Yeah, it's just a matter of the fact that you did somehow skip over level 7, as far as you can definitely notice. That's obviously you'd be using that cloud item, so yeah, I'm guessing that's my kind of thing when it comes to like skipping those kinds of stuff like this, but still. And I didn't get any 1-ups at all, which is kind of unfortunate. At least on the upside, for you anyway, that you did somehow manage to get extra lives in the very beginning of the world, thanks to that particular, you know, with that particular diamond color scheme of that slot machine, you know? Yeah, true, especially concerning, oh no, that fire chomp is back! That flame chomp is back ever since in World 5! Oh jeez, I was not expecting to see him returning. Well, best of luck for you, because obviously about the fact that there's a good thing I skipped this level because of this, so... Anyways, let's talk about the forms of the actual today's discussion in terms of the forms of, you know, for this video anyway. Recently, for those of you who lived in the UK, that's, well, happy 10th anniversary of not only from the likes of the special themed, Luigi-themed Wii Remote during the forms of the Wii U era of any kind, but also Mario and Sonic at the Sochi 2014 Olympic Winter Games on the Wii U has now turned 10 years old during the forms of the UK version. So, yeah, it seems kind of weird about the fact that while looking back on the game right now, it's alright, and somehow you got 5 more extra lives, mighty, right there. Oh yeah, I'm the best at timing. At least in certain capacity, but still. Yeah, I know that. So, now it's my turn to take on level 8. So, yeah, I wonder what this is going to be involved around in. Oh, of course, it's a very standard, grassy-themed, environment, as far as I can definitely tell for this point. And, relatively speaking, though, about the fact that, as I mentioned this before, looking back on the forms of Mario and Sonic at the Sochi 2014 Olympic Winter Games now, since enjoying the forms of in 2013 when it first came out on the Wii U, despite the fact that I believe Sonic did actually tell me that he didn't get the game in day 1, but that's only mainly because he was able to save the game up, enjoying at some point when it gets like Christmas and stuff like that, which I do remember that time when he did tell me. And then as a result of that kind of stuff though, that I think it seems kind of weird looking back in it as well, that this is the only Mario and Sonic game that utilizes the Wii Motion Plus peripheral, or Wii Remote Plus, depending on the forms of the built-in Wii Remote controller and stuff like that, which is kind of crazy, kind of think about it. Because unlike in Rio 2016, that doesn't utilize the Wii Remote Plus peripheral, or Motion Plus for that matter. Yeah, because something tells me about the fact that in Rio 2016, at least specifically the Wii U version of the game, does not have any motion controls involved. And on top of all that stuff though, the only time it does use motion controls is on the 3DS version, but that's just because about the fact that it utilizes the gyro sensing and stuff like that, and plus, the Wii U is a massive flop anyway, so don't expect things to be too surprising when it comes to the absence of that particular technology in mind. Oh, and on top of all that stuff though, about the fact no matter is though, that it seems kind of weird now, that some people seem to say that Mario and Sonic at the Sochi 2014 Olympic Winter Games, it was technically the final installment of the Olympic Winter Games kind of Mario and Sonic game, believe it or not. I'm guessing it's because of the forms of the sales records might have something to do with that. Oh jeez Louise, that was a close call for me. Especially concerning that I've almost died for that particular piranha plant, but at least I did somehow succeed, like Zuzam. Oh, I apologize for that particular disgusting belchiness, by the way, folks. Ugh. Oh, let me guess, because you eating too much of your, I don't know, cucumber, if I'm assuming so? I thought so anyway, because I just could not help it how delicious these things are. Well, true, especially concerning about the fact that it does have a lot of water inside of it, so that should be all good, at least as far as this is concerned, for eating, you know, too much healthy stuff, as you'd probably expect, so... Oh, and also something's worth noting for is about the fact that we completely forgot to mention about this during the informs of in the forms of 2 days ago, actually. That for those of you who lived in the UK as well, during the informs of, 2 days ago, happy 25th anniversary of the UK's theatre release, or the cinemas release of, the very first DreamWorks movie called Ants. And, looking back in it right now, despite how most people seem to vaguely remembered, unlike the forms of its counterpart, which is of course A Bug's Life, and I can totally see why that, most people prefer A Bug's Life over the likes of Ants, so, well, it's kind of like the same thing for the likes of Nintendo vs. Sega competition back in the forms of in the 90s and stuff like that. Well, at least when I look back on the film right now, with the forms of Ants anyway, I still find it pretty enjoyable still, especially concerning about the fact that despite the CGI is a bit touch dated, but I will admit though, looking back in it is very impressive still, at least in my opinion. I know a lot of people do have their own opinions on it as well, but let's face it though, it does have a lot of opinion related things nowadays, so, which is totally understandable for some capacity, so. Alright, now I'm going to be tackling through the third tower level in World 6, and something tells me it's going to be a bit trickier than the other 2 tower levels, because there are a couple of times though you might able to actually get a lot of recklessness when it comes to not only for those boos right here, but also with a lot of obstacles here and there as well. Yeah, true, but at least you did somehow manage to, pass for this point, no problem, so either way. Yeah, I'm about to. Oh, you kidding me? That stupid spike stuff just somehow managed to waste my raccoon power-up. But hey, at least on the upside, you did somehow complete this level on your first attempt. So, unlike the actual kind of a schizophrenic NES version, or the Super Nintendo versions more like, but either way though, that might be saying something. So, and before we get on to the last level in World 6, I'm going to be going ahead and go and grab some more stuff during the forms of flipping the card game. So, seriously? Okay, whatever. Oh, I can get my fire flower if I were able to add that to my item inventory spot. And, I was so close to able to get that another reward, but that's okay, because I'm pretty sure I'll take my fire flower with me, just to ensure. So anyways, let me go ahead and tackle through yet another Airship Fortress level. So in some cases though, we're about to take on Lemmy Cooper as far as I'm aware, because I'm pretty sure if you've already seen the, not only the NES version, but also on the Super Nintendo version as well, you know exactly what I'm going to be on about. So either way, I suppose the last thing I want to mention though, in regards to the forms of today's discussion, that is about the fact that, well, relatively speaking also, that Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games Tokyo 2020 for the Nintendo Switch has been turned into, I would say, 4 years old just recently during the forms of the UK version's release. So, yeah, time flies, you know, especially concerning about the fact that we did somehow celebrate it, not one, but 2 Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games celebration anniversary-wise, because we're relatively speaking though about the fact that while looking back on these games right now, they're fine for the most part, even though despite the fact that, well, speaking of which though, about the fact that while we also look back on the forms of the special themed, Mario themed Wii Remote Plus controllers, while we still managed to have ourselves the Luigi one after all, because of the forms of the Year of Luigi during that time in 2013 and stuff like that, well, we rarely used the controller personally, mainly because about the fact that we only intentionally used that for not only one of those Wii U games, essentially for Mario and Sonic at the Sochi 2014 Olympic Winter Games, but at the same time with the forms of one of those Wii games potentially, which appears to be The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword, because both of those games utilize the Wii Motion Plus peripheral, or potentially Wii Remote Plus if you prefer like built-in technology inside the controller itself. But either way, World 6 is completed, and straight to the point, we actually did this pretty good run so far, apart from a couple of deft exceptions here and there, but regardless of such though, World 6 is finally done. Well, relatively speaking, the hardest world in terms of Super Mario Bros. 3 still, because I just feel like that the difficulty is a bit zigzaggy when it comes to like, continuous like, well, you know what I mean. Now, pursuant to, this will be the last time we'll be seeing this little message from Princess Toadstool, and somehow she gave me the P-Wing. So, but something tells me once we finish up with World 7, then you pretty much know what to expect, what's going to be happening next. So either way, that pretty much does it for this point, and now we're on to World 7, and that's what appears to be Pipe Maze. So, with that being said, we got the endings up here. So join me and Mighty next time for more of Let's Play of Super Mario Advance 4, Super Mario Bros. 3, instead we'll move on to World 7, which is Pipe Maze. So we'll see you guys on Friday. Later, fellas.